Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Hmm? How about when I start introducing it, if you can pass it out to the tables? Let's do it like that. All right, everybody is trickling in. Welcome. Hello, everybody. As soon as we get some more people in the seats, we're going to go ahead and get started. So give us about maybe 1 to 2 more minutes, and then we're going to get started. Okay, Alabama A&M came with their shirts on. All right, all right. I love it. So we're waiting on a few more teams. Some of our Philander Smith team, they'll be joining us. Yep. A&T, I know some of them are coming. Jackson State. I'm so proud to have y'all here. Lincoln University is here. Perfect. If anybody, we have about 1 minute. There are snacks. There's some water over there. If anybody wants to grab anything, feel free to do that right now before we get started. We'll get started in about 1 minute. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. As students come in, they'll just come in and join us, but we want to make sure we keep to the time. It is amazing to see everyone in person. I haven't seen, I wasn't here for 2021. The last Making an Innovation Showcase that I was at was in 2020. So you may have seen me in the webinars, you may have seen me on LinkedIn, you may have seen me in whatever we've shown you for the past year. But I am Neela White. I'm a project director here at AAAS and co-PI of the AAAS HBCU Making an Innovation Showcase. This is the orientation. So this is an opportunity just to give you a brief overview of what the showcase experience is going to be about. We're going to do an icebreaker game so that we can, mix and mingle so you won't be sitting here for long. We're going to switch it up so that you can get to meet some of the other team members that are here. We're going to give you an opportunity to ask questions. And this is all going to take place before we lead into our opening plenaries. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So just a quick overview. As many of you know, we are hosting this through my organization, the amazing AAAS, the American Association for the Advancement of Science. We are the oldest and largest scientific organization. We were formed in 1848, and our mission, as you can see, is advance science, engineering, and innovation throughout the world for the benefit of all people. So our department, ISEED, Inclusive STEM Ecosystems for Equity and Diversity, we focus on obviously DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion within science, engineering, within STEM programs. We look at higher education, we look at workforce, we work with many programs, so we're looking at the full scope of DEI. So we have programs for students with disabilities. We focus on inclusion, so we have the Sea Change program that looks to have more underrepresented people in STEM professions, STEM in college in STEM. And you can learn more about ISEED and AAAS by visiting our website if you haven't done so already, listed here, www.AAAS.org. And very specifically for many of you, we have a science careers website dedicated to providing career opportunities. So you can visit www.sciencemag.org/careers to learn about some of the science careers that we offer. Not that we offer, but that are available. And so you all have seen this slide many of times through the webinars and the e-mentoring sessions that we have. But we just want to acknowledge that this is a grant that we received from the National Science Foundation. The grant's name is actually Enhancing HBCU Making an Innovation Capacity via an Inclusive Community of Practice. We received this grant in 2021. We held our first showcase of the grant last year. This is our second showcase this year, and then next year we're going to focus on dissemination and really talking about the impact of the program, disseminating about the work that we've done with this program. So, as you know, we have a few activities that fall under the umbrella of this grant. The big one, the premier event, obviously, is the showcase that you all are a part of and that we're taking place right now. We also have been doing year-long virtual monthly engagements that we've been doing since last year, our e-mentoring sessions that we started this year, and then we're gonna be spending this year and then next year really focusing on that HBCU Making Innovation Resource Toolkit. So this is the project team at AAAS. I wanna definitely acknowledge our PI of the project, Dr. Iris Wagstaff. She has been the pioneer behind really getting this moving with this new grant since 2021. So I want to thank Iris for really supporting this and really being the backbone of this program. And then I'd also like to acknowledge my team members, Claire Malloy, who just started 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago. So she's brand new and she's been able to come right in and like really just help and support the showcase. And then Allison Gonzalez, who you all may remember. If you were here last year, Allison was so graciously here for us on our behalf since Iris and I were unable to make it. So I just want to acknowledge you all and thank both of you and Iris for all the work that you all have done. I want to acknowledge our funder, the National Science Foundation, and very specifically our program officer, Dr. Carlita Page Anderson. Carlita Page Anderson is with the HBCU UP program. Again, that is the program within NSF that funds the showcase. And then they have not arrived yet, but this year we have something brand new, which we are very thrilled about. We were offered a sponsorship from VentureWell. If you're not familiar with VentureWell, they were formerly known as the National Collegiate Invention and Innovation Alliance. But they have since transitioned, maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, to VentureWorld. But they focus on invention and innovation in higher education. So we just want to acknowledge them and thank them for their sponsorship this year. So this slide is basically just showing the impact and engagement of the program. This is our 5th showcase. We had our first one in 2018. I'm so honored to see there's people in the 2020 Innovation Showcase and so many familiar faces that were a part of this program. And what I think really stands to what this showcase is about is that you do see teams and faculty members such as Dr. Anwar, Dr. Latson, Dr. Mitra, who come back each year with a different team to continue participating. So for that, we are grateful, so thankful for that. And then this year, we have, our teams that are representing from Bowie State, Morgan State, Philander Smith College, yeah, clap up your team, North Carolina A&T, Lincoln University of Missouri, Alabama A&M University, and Jackson State University. So once again, shout out to y'all for, putting up and doing this and working on these projects since January, I guess, when we reached out to y'all to solicit you all to apply. So congratulations for you all for getting to this point. And we are very honored to have you all here with us. So what are we here for? We're here for the actual showcase. Again, we've been building up to this since, I think, February, March, when you all first applied, and then we've been having our coaching sessions. I've been answering questions. You all had been working on these prototypes, and so now the time is finally here. It is DC. If you're not from this area, welcome to DC. Our theme this year is building innovation and sustainability at HBCUs. So this is basically where I'm going to kind of go over what to expect while you're here. At the end of all of this, I'm going to give you an opportunity to ask questions. But basically what you'll find out is that we will be hosting not only the orientation, which we're having right now, but we'll be hosting plenaries that will take place over today, tomorrow, and Saturday. And we are thrilled with some of the names and people that we have. You'll be hearing from Joey Womack, who's with Goody Nation and Amplify for Good. We'll have a welcome video from our CEO at AAAS, Dr. Sudip Parikh. You'll hear from James L. Moore III, the newly appointed Assistant Director for Education and Human Resources Directorate at the National Science Foundation. And then we'll get some remarks from our 2022 sponsor from VentureWell. On Friday, we'll hear from Juanita Lewis. She is in Ghana currently, and so she will be Zooming in with us virtually to provide the breakfast plenary keynote tomorrow. You'll hear from the ISEED director who's here. Some of you may have met him last year, Dr. Travis York, and again, Iris Wagstaff. And then we'll also hear from another one of our VentureWell sponsors. And then on Saturday, for our Saturday Awards plenary, we are very honored to have the newly appointed Deputy Director for the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, Dr. Derek Brent, and I'm super honored. I've worked with Dr. Shirley Malcolm for many years. She will be here and will be presenting and having a fireside chat with Deputy Director Brent on Saturday. So just a quick overview of how each day is going to go. Obviously today we're currently in the orientation. At 7 p.m. we'll begin the opening plenary and reception. On Friday, September 23rd, we'll start with our breakfast plenary. It starts at 8 a.m., but you can come down as early as 7:45. We'll start having breakfast available at that time. So between 9:30 and 12:30, we will have concurrent student and faculty sessions. All student sessions will be held in this room, so for the most part, you all are going to be in here. Faculty members, your sessions will take place in Congressional B, which is on the south tower side. Not far. Everything is on this level. At 12:30 p.m., we'll have a work and lunch. And then 2 p.m. to 4:30 p.m., we will have, again, concurrent sessions for our student and faculties. At 4:30 p.m., we will have our faculty evaluation group with our external evaluators, MN Associates. Kavita, Nina, and Debbie from the team are here. They will be doing the evaluations. And then for students at 5 p.m., you will have a final chance to practice your showcase pitch. On Saturday the 24th, we will have our showcase pitch competition. We're actually going to get started, my apologies, we're going to get started at 8 a.m. I sent out the showcase order of teams to you all. You all should have it. I can resend it tonight if needed, but we'll start at 8 a.m. and we'll conclude at about 10:30 a.m. At 10:30 a.m., the students, all of you will be doing the evaluation focus groups, again with our external evaluator. At that same time, our faculty, we're going to be seeking your opinions and your input on the resource toolkit that we talked about and how AAAS can support HBCUs. So we'll be getting a feedback session from you all at that time. At 12:30, we will have our awards plenary luncheon. And we'll be announcing the winners of the showcase pitch competition at that time. At 2:30, we will adjourn. Use bullet 2 on here. We want to discuss safety measures. So let me just say, although President Biden has declared the pandemic over, we want to be mindful that some of us are still wanting to be safe, still wanting to practice social distancing, still wanting to take protective measures, and we are mindful of that. So we ask that if you want to wear a mask, please wear a mask. Please, we have masks available. We have hand sanitizer. We will be kind of cleaning throughout to make sure that we're providing the most sanitary availability for you all. If you are feeling sick, please, please, please notify your faculty advisor, who will notify us, or you can send me an email directly. We want to make sure that we don't risk getting anyone else sick here. So please let us know if anyone is feeling sick, if you're feeling feverish or anything. Let us know. We're going to ask for you to remain in your room if that takes place. And then there's bullet 2. If there's a table assignments. So as you can see, we are, again, trying to be mindful of safety measures. And so we have tried to space out the table so that there's distance between everyone, although we will be doing interactive activities throughout the time that we're here. We just want to be mindful of that. So your table assignments will be the tables that you will sit at, with the exception of an activity like we're about to do with our icebreaker. And then some of our plenary sessions may involve student sessions and faculty sessions may involve some engagement and interactions. But for the most part, the table that you are seated at will be the table that you have for the duration of the showcase. The tables are assigned here, but you all have found them on your own, of course. And this is very, very, very important, and I'm gonna harp on y'all because we say at the end of each e-mentoring session, please fill out the survey. And we get some, but for this showcase, it is very, very, very important to have you all complete the surveys. It's critical, this is information that we report back to NSF, who is our funder. It's critical for the data that we provide to our external evaluators. It helps guide the direction of the showcase. So we've made changes just based on what we've learned from 2020 and 2021 to this year, based on the feedback that we received from the surveys. So we ask that you please complete the surveys. There will be paper surveys after each session. They'll be right on the table. It's literally maybe 2 questions that you just mark off. And then and we'll provide time at the end of each session so that you can complete those. And then on Saturday during our awards plenary, we will have time for you all to complete the overall showcase survey. So we ask that you please complete those. And thank you so much for doing this. It's so important for our work. It's important for us in terms of seeking out additional funding. And then it's just important to hear from you all. This is why we do this. It's because we want to hear from you all. So please complete the surveys. And so we are excited. This is something that we've, when we have our LinkedIn page and our Twitter page, as opportunities come up, we try to share them with you. Tomorrow we'll have a working lunch where we'll talk about a few of the other fellowship opportunities that'll take place, or internship opportunities that'll take place. This was one that was just shared with us. Ruth Schumann, who will be here tomorrow for one of the faculty sessions, who is with the National Science Foundation, shared an opportunity for, it's called activate.org. I'm sorry the link doesn't show up here. But it's an opportunity, it's an entrepreneurial fellowship for engineers and scientists. The deadline to apply is 11:59 p.m. on October 31st. We will be sharing this on our social media, and we'll be sharing this with you all tomorrow as well with our working lunch, but we just wanted to point that out and put that in front of you, and to also remember, to advise you all to remember to look at our LinkedIn page, which is an invite-only page, but we accept everyone who seeks out the invitation, and our Twitter page, because we do push out any opportunities that come our way to you all. All right, so I just want to take a pause real quick to see if there are any questions before we go into the next piece. Are there any questions about the showcase? Any questions that any of you have for me about tomorrow's events, the pitch competition on Saturday, anything that I haven't provided in all those emails that I've sent you? Any questions? Oh, that means I'm doing my job if no one has questions. That's awesome. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a few minutes. Dr. James Holley Jr., he is an alumnus of Tuskegee University who is not here. That's who I see that is, they haven't arrived yet. But he is an alumnus of Tuskegee. He is currently at the University of Michigan. He's an assistant professor of mechanical engineering and core faculty member within the engineering education research program. He is at a conference at the same time, so he's unable to be here, but he wanted to share a welcome video with you all that really focuses on minority students, students of color, and how they can really embrace, being an engineer, being an entrepreneur, being an innovator and an inventor. So we'll go ahead and share that video right now.
Hello, my name is James Holley Jr. I'm an assistant professor at the University of Michigan in mechanical engineering, and I also am involved with the engineering education research program here. While I'm deeply saddened that I cannot be there with you all, I'm still honored to have this opportunity to share a few words with you. I'm an alum of Tuskegee University. That's where I earned my bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. And then I went on to study mechanical engineering at Michigan State University, where I earned a master's degree. And then my doctorate I earned from Purdue University in engineering education. Uh, Through that experience, one of the things that I began to do, or one of my foci, is looking at how Black people's intellectualism and experience can reshape the way we think about what engineering is, what making is, what innovation means, and how it can be useful for other Black people. And so today I want to highlight this concept of ebony ingenuity. This was taken from, or I borrowed it from a poem on the song by Don Bean. And what he's talking about is this idea of Black folks' resilience, but also their intellectualism and how they use that to do things for other Black folks. So it's not simply about trying to make it or survive by ourselves, but we're creating this reality within the oppressed reality that still allows us to experience joy, excitement, triumph, success in various ways. And so I bring that concept into the ways that I teach and study engineering. And I think that HBCUs are in a particular space to where, because you're in this context where Blackness is normalized, where Blackness is esteemed, when you draw upon Black thinkers, where Black history is embodied in the institutions themselves, that's a huge resource that we have, that you all have, to use to inform how you make and do things, right? It's very easy to get caught up in wanting to work for big companies and to be recognized at a high level for ways that other folks think are important. But much less appreciated is the ways in which we work and support one another and use our intellectualism to guide one another to create new realities and technological advancement. And so I have this PowerPoint up because there's this quote I wanted to share with you all to help you think about how to do this. So this is Amiri Baraka, used to be well known, not as well known as he should be, but advocate, artist, intellectual scholar. And he says, think of yourself, a Black creator, freed of European restraint, which first means the restraint of the self-determined mind. Machines have the morality of their inventors. New technology must be spiritually oriented because it must aspire to raise man's spirituality and expand man's consciousness, or all people, not just man, right? It must begin by being humanistic, though the white boy has yet to achieve this. Witness technology that kills both plants and animals, poisons the air, and degenerates or enslaves us. And so Amiri covers a lot of freeing ourselves of this, of the restraint of the self-determined mind. And so even many of us that are at, like yourselves, at Black institutions, or those of us who have attended Black institutions, many folks at those Black institutions still ascertain white values, or values of whiteness. And those values tend to be anchored in violence, in separation, individualism, which often contradict and conflict with historical Black values. And these are not values that every single Black person may, aspire to, but they are within our lineage from African countries and African cultural traditions. And so a lot of that is around communalism, right? A lot of that is using technology and technological advancement for practical problem solving, not simply for innovation's sake, right? Another thing here Amiri talks about is morality and spirituality. How often in engineering or innovation in STEM more broadly are we encouraged to think about the morality of what we're doing and the spirituality that is embedded in how we make and create, right? And so these are things that are rooted in Black thought, Black intellectualism, Black scholarship, and ways of thinking. And so I encourage you all to leverage your experiential resources, right? Recognizing that what you have gone through, what you've navigated, is an intellectual resource that shapes how you do things and make things in and of itself. But amplifying that by studying scholars and thinkers like Amiri Baraka, Audre Lorde, Cornel West, James Baldwin, and a lot of folks that have quoted highly today, and think about how can what they talked about and the knowledge that they put forth help us to make things that help our people, help other Black folks, as well as are more humane and help broader society, right? So he talks about how historically, engineering and innovation has been guided by whiteness, and that has led to, things like global change. Global climate change, and how that is destroying society, the environment, as well as human beings. And so shifting that way of just trying to embellish ourselves or make things more convenient for us and not considering the responsibility we have to not only other humans, but both plants and animals, right? So just my encouragement to you all is this ebony ingenuity is about embracing Blackness, where the ebony comes from, is Blackness, Black identity, Black experience, and using that to make things, even when we are limited in resources, even when we are not being respected out in the world and respected by public service officials and things like that, still leveraging our resilience, our navigational capital in a way that we recreate society with what we do have, that we draw upon our ancestors and the work and the resilience and intellectualism that they showed, to now that we have more resources and society looks very different, to build for future generations, so that we're not just making new technological devices, but we're increasing humanity, right? That we're building together. And so I think that HBCUs provide a particular context where you can do that in this rich, vibrant Black space, without having to deal with some of the external factors of trying to please other people or external folks. And it's not only about, just being around Black people, but there's a particular richness in our ancestry that allows us to, leverage mathematics in a different way. Not solely focus on the numbers or the science, the basic science, but how does that change our reality? How can we utilize that to make something out of the little bit that we've been given in a way that advances life for everyone? So I encourage you all to take that, enjoy your time during the showcase. Again, I wish I could be there, but feel free to reach out to me if you want to learn more about my work or share with me what you're doing. I'm just so glad that you all have this space and this opportunity, and I encourage you to utilize it to the fullest extent. Take care.
So we just wanted to share that video. James really wanted to be here, and he really wanted to share that message. It's something that's so dear to him. So we asked him to do the welcome video and to share that with you all. So I hope it gives you a lot to think about as you all continue on this path of innovation, inventing, making, and entrepreneurship. So we are going to go into our icebreaker game. It's not corny. It's about having fun. It's about getting to meet new people. It's about being innovators. And you may be familiar with it. It is the Spaghetti Marshmallow Tower Challenge. Has anyone heard of that? Okay, a couple of people have. So it's pretty cool. We're going to spend a few minutes just describing what you need to do. And really, it's a teamwork activity. It's, you'll be finding out kind of who's taking the lead on certain things, who's the engineer in the group, who's the, the social, the business mind in the group. So it's going to give you an opportunity to kind of see those things. And then I also just want to take time for you all to just, as you're building these towers, to just get to know one another. You don't have to do a long introduction, but just make sure that you all introduce yourselves, introduce, who you are, what school you go to, perhaps what you're studying. And so what I want to do is for people to kind of mix and mingle. We're going to have 10 tables. So we're going to have 9 tables. The 3, 1, 2, 3, the 4 in the front and the 5 in the back. I'm going to ask a couple of you all to move. I know some people are very comfortable in their seats now, but we want you all to really get a chance to meet new people and to, meet some of the other team members. So I will literally pick people out if you don't move. Thank you, Alabama A&M, for taking the lead on this. Thank you. Time out. I'm sorry. Thank you, Iris. 1 second, y'all. If you have not collected your gift card, your travel expense stipend card. We need you to, at this moment, to go outside and follow Iris is waving, and to go outside and collect your travel stipend gift card. It will take every bit of 2 minutes to collect, but please collect that now. Again, if we can have, outside of that, teams kind of mix and mingle. Once I get everybody at a seat, I'm gonna give the instructions. Come on, Lincoln University, I see y'all trying to sit in the same spot. Let's move around. Oh, just wherever you see a bag. Go wherever you see a bag at the table. That's fine, y'all can sit there. Yep, perfect. All right, let's take 30 more seconds to find a table, and then I will give out the instructions for what we are going to do. We got a table right here, perfect. Cool, cool, cool. So the Bowie State table, I'm gonna ask y'all to come to this table. Even though y'all were all together, I'm gonna ask y'all to come here so that you have a full group. Oh, I was moving it up here, Dr. Anwar. Dr. Anwar, and I'm gonna ask y'all to go to table 6 in the corner. Yep. Dr. Latson, I'm gonna ask you to go to table 2. We're doing an active. You can find a seat wherever. We're about to do an icebreaker game. That's why it looks. I want you to. I want you to go to this table. All right. All right. So everybody is in their seats. Table 1, table 2. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 tables. Okay. Can I get y'all to be quiet for 2 seconds so I can give out the instructions? Because this is a timed activity. You can start. Table. Oh, perfect. Table 3 is rowdy. Table 3 is rowdy. Y'all are rowdy. It's okay. No, I'm about to give out the instructions. We have, this is time, so that's the only reason I want to make sure we get through it. So you have in your bag spaghetti sticks, mini marshmallows, 1 jumbo marshmallow, and then Allison just came around and passed everybody about a yard of tape. So the goal of this is to put together the highest structure, the sturdiest structure, come on engineers, of a marshmallow tower. The key thing, the only thing is the jumbo marshmallow has to be on top. Okay? We're gonna give y'all 18 minutes for this. Yes? I couldn't hear you. It's around the, yep. All right? So I am going to start the timer. Again, you don't have to use every single piece of spaghetti. You don't have to use every marshmallow. The key thing is that structure has to have a jumbo marshmallow on the top. And we're gonna get started now. We have 18 minutes, y'all. Make sure you're introducing yourselves to your teammates. These towers are looking good. We got about 4 more minutes. One minute, 1 minute. Make sure you get that jumbo marshmallow on top. Just hold on to it. Just hold still. Ten, nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Come on, y'all. And we're going to do this like, what's the show? They just did it. All right, hands up. We're done. Hands up, hands up, hands up. Hands up. Let's see. They're cheating. Hands off, hands up. We are going to have, oh, so we are so honored. We have Joey Womack. He is going to be the keynote for our opening plenary. He's just going to go around and take a peek to see which tower is the winner. So, Joey, I pass it on to you.
I was digging this one over here.
Right. Hold on. Let's be quiet. We gotta hear Joey. Okay.
I want to hear like everyone in the room can participate except for if it's your active team. Audience Choice Award.
Okay.
Actually, if you're with a team, kind of move out the way so others can see and stuff like that.
Thank you. This is awesome.
So this is table number 3. Now, like table number 3, can I hear some noise at table number 3 here?
Y'all not feeling table number 3?
Table number 2.
We got table number 2. It's a struggle. Congratulations, table number 2. Congratulations. Congratulations to all the tables. Y'all did fantastic. Amazing job. Yes, get a. So let me say one thing I noticed with table 2. Dr. Latson was in charge. She was sitting there. Y'all did fantastic. Honestly, every team did fantastic. I know it was just, a fun icebreaker. It was something to get everybody to get to know one another. It was something where we could just, meet new team members, think about how we are all here, because we're all engineers, we're all innovators, we're all makers, we're all entrepreneurs. We appreciate all of the hard work that y'all have done thus far, leading up to the showcase. We greatly appreciate, y'all can put the marshmallow and stuff back in that bag and we'll collect it. Table 2, I wish I had a wonderful prize for y'all, but y'all just got a lot of recognition. And you know what? Y'all can be the first ones in line for the reception. So there you go. All right. And so, what institutions were represented here? I think I know, but go ahead and call them out. Jackson State, all right. Bowie State. Jackson State and Bowie State, congratulations. So this is gonna wrap up the orientation. I really, again, am so proud of each of y'all for all the hard work that y'all put in for this entire year. We're gonna transition to the opening plenary. Everybody can return to your assigned tables, and we're gonna get started with the opening plenary in a couple of minutes. Thank you all, great job, everybody.
Okay, if everybody has returned to their assigned tables, we'll go ahead and get started. Good evening and welcome. Welcome to the 2022 HBCU Making and Innovation Showcase. My name is Dr. Iris Wagstaff, and I am really privileged and honored to serve as PI or Principal Investigator on this project. I really want to, again, just thank the National Science Foundation so much. We're thrilled that our NSF program officer, Dr. Carlita Page Anderson, was able to join us today. So this is the lady responsible for making this opportunity available. So thank you to her. And before I get started, thank you, Neela, so much. I'm also privileged and honored to serve alongside Neela White. We really, really enjoy managing this showcase. The showcase, again, is one part of the overall grant initiative, so we really enjoy our work, and we're thrilled that you all made it. Welcome to Washington, D.C. The first thing I want to say before we get started is I want to reiterate Neela's safety announcements. We are strongly encouraging wearing your mask, just so we want to make sure that everyone feels welcome and safe. So I just want, you will hear us reiterating the mask policy. We are all vaccinated, but safety is of critical importance to us. So you'll be hearing those announcements throughout the next 2.5 days. So the first thing I want to say before we get into the speakers is I want all the students to just stand up and congratulate yourselves. Give yourselves a hand. We sent this call to 104 HBCUs, and you all were the ones selected to participate in this showcase. And I always have to get a huge shout out to one of my alums, North Carolina A&T State University. So any Aggies in the house? Aggie pride? Okay, wait a minute, now that's weak. Come on now. Can I get a better Aggie pride than that? Aggie pride? All right, that's a little better. I hope I don't see y'all at homecoming, which I haven't been to in 20 years, but maybe I'll make it this year. So I just want to, for the students especially, give you all a charge. This isn't just another conference. This isn't just another conference. You will be among shakers and makers in the making, innovation, entrepreneurship, and invention space. We have a lineup of some amazing, amazing speakers. You will interact with our amazing advisory board members. So don't, take advantage of this opportunity. You should be, already planning out who you're going to follow up with, who you're going to reach out to, who you're going to connect with on LinkedIn or social media. This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance and opportunity to engage with some folks that you would never meet in this space. So my charge to you is to take advantage of the next 2.5 days. So I will move on now to have the privilege of bringing up our ISEED director, Dr. Travis York, and he is going to give the land acknowledgement, and he will introduce our speakers and also serve as our moderator for the night. Thank you, Travis.
Thank you, Iris, Neela, the rest of the team. It is a huge honor to get to MC for you all tonight. As Iris said, my name is Travis. I serve as the director of ISEED at AAAS. ISEED is a mouthful, so we use that acronym, but it stands for Inclusive STEM Ecosystems for Equity and Diversity. And ISEED is one of our program units at AAAS. There are 6 other program units, but ISEED is actually the largest program unit. And within ISEED, all of our external programs that span the entire breadth of STEM, including medicine, and the entire continuum of STEM education and workforce development are kind of where our programs sit. So everything from youth engagement all the way through formal and informal schools, colleges, undergrads, graduates, postdocs, all the way into faculty and research careers. We have projects that and initiatives that really span all of those areas. And by and large, our initiatives really fall into 2 buckets. One bucket is where projects and initiatives that we have that seek to directly invest in individuals so that they can access and thrive within STEM pathways. The showcase, I think, is one of those pieces. I would say that this project falls into both of these pieces, but the showcase itself is one of the pieces where, this showcase is about investing in all of you. I hope you take Iris's very thoughtful charge to heart, and I hope that you gain incredible contacts and networks with each other over the next few days that will carry you not only through your academic journeys, but on and on into your innovation careers and your problem solving to come. The other space that our work really falls in is really building the capacity of organizations so that they can use equity-focused, people-driven lenses to make sure that their structures, their practices, their policies are truly inclusive. At AAAS, DEI and justice is a huge part of what we do. We believe that science is a human right. Not only the access to science and to be able to do science, but also to be a part of the scientific enterprise. And we need all voices in that enterprise for it to realize its true potential. So your investment and involvement in STEM is hugely important to us. Again, I'm really excited to serve as the MC for tonight. Last year was my first showcase participation. I joined AAAS about almost 2 years ago. And so this is actually the very first event that I got to be a part of last year in person. And so it's really special for me that I get to kind of be here with all of you again tonight. I am a social scientist by training. I know that might sound very weird to many of you, but some of us are out here, some social, any interest in social science at all? No? Okay. Well, we like to partner with all of you who are in the STEM fields. And so my area of specialty is really thinking about how organizations catalyze and sustain change and organizational change. And so the human capacity of that is foundational to that work. So I'm really excited to get to learn from you all from the next couple of days. I am also really excited and kind of honored to provide a land acknowledgement this evening. For those of you who might not be familiar, or if you might not have encountered a land acknowledgement before, it's provided at the beginning of a gathering by naming the traditional native inhabitants of the land in order to offer recognition and respect native peoples, and to cultivate a deeper awareness of the history that has led to the present moment. As the son of a very proud half Choctaw, quarter Cherokee man, my dad, I'm really honored to gather with you and to offer this land acknowledgement today. I know I look white, I pass as white, but I consider myself biracial because my dad's 3/8, almost half, or I'm almost half, I'm 3/8 Native. And so with that, I wish to gratefully acknowledge all the diverse and vibrant indigenous peoples on whose ancestral homelands many of us live and work. Today, we acknowledge that we are on the lands of the indigenous Piscataway and Anacostan people, and we pay respects to the elders of past and present. I'm also happy to provide a very brief introduction to our next video presenter. He's my boss, so I guess I don't have to suck up too much because it's just video, right? Although it's being live streamed. So if you're watching, hi, Sudip. So Sudip Parikh is AAAS's CEO, and he's also the executive publisher of Science in the Science family of journals. Dr. Parikh previously served as the Senior Vice President and Managing Director for DIA Americas, along with previously serving as the Vice President and General Manager of Health and Consumer Solutions at Battelle. Leading its healthcare improvement, public health research, and consumer, industrial, and medical technology developments team, along with research and development. Dr. Parikh is a board member of the Research America of Friends of Cancer Research and the Food Innovation Center. He was a Presidential Management Fellow. If you might want to keep that tucked in there, a Presidential Management Fellow. That might be something that some of you are interested in exploring. Dr. Parikh earned his Bachelor's of Science degree in Materials Applied Science from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and earned his Doctorate of Philosophy in Macromolecular Structure and Chemistry from Scripps Research Institute. You'll hear in this video, he's a very, very proud North Carolinian, and you'll hear that twang come out in his accent. So.
Hey there, everybody. I hope you are doing well. I wish I could be there with you in person. I am traveling today And this will be the first time since I've been CEO that I've missed the opening of the AAAS HBCU Making an Innovation Showcase. The first time that I've missed an in-person one, and I'm really regretful of that. But I know this is going to be a terrific experience for all of you. Our first AAAS HBCU Making an Innovation Showcase was held in 2018. And since then, we've been awarded 2 National Science Foundation grants, which have supported teams from 25 HBCUs and approximately 300 students and faculty participants. And I'm excited to acknowledge the 8 HBCUs that are represented in the 2022 cohort. Alabama A&M University, Bowie State University, Jackson State University, the Lincoln University of Missouri, Morgan State University, North Carolina A&T University, Philander Smith College, and Tuskegee University. It is so amazing to have you all here. I want to take a moment while you're all listening to acknowledge the AAAS HBCU Making an Innovation Advisory Board. They have served for 3 years and provided countless hours of service, guidance, expertise, and support to this program. And they are an incredibly valuable contributor to the success of this program, to what you're gonna experience. I have to start by saying that, look, HBCUs are uniquely positioned to support invention, innovation, entrepreneurship, all the things that we need to both increase our well-being and to increase our prosperity. And that's partly due to the fact that they produce high numbers of PhDs in STEM, in science, technology, engineering, and medicine, despite being under-resourced. HBCUs are the baccalaureate origin for many African-American students who go on to obtain PhDs in STEM fields. And we need that. We need that because if we're gonna cure cancer, if we're gonna go to Mars, if we're gonna reduce health disparities, if we're gonna design the next wonderful product or gadget, we need everybody at the table. We need the brain power of everybody. And that doesn't come, it comes from having a wide aperture on science and technology. And Alondra Nelson at the White House, she's the science advisor to the president. Alondra has this great line that she says that I like to paraphrase, which is that it matters who's sitting at the table designing these things. It matters who's at the table when the algorithm is developed. It matters who's at the table when the clinical trial is designed. It matters because we need that wide aperture to ensure that we're also having the greatest outcomes for everybody. So I'm so incredibly proud that AAAS is involved in that, and I'm incredibly proud to be partners and collaborators with HBCUs in making that happen. The top 10 institutions to produce Black or African American engineering PhD recipients between 2015 and 2019 include 5 HBCUs, and here I got to give a shout out. 3 of which are represented in this year's cohort. Tuskegee University, Morgan State University, and North Carolina A&T University are all among those top 10 institutions. And that's extraordinary. It's wonderful to have you represented here at the showcase. And STEM is at the core of students being able to identify paths to achieving the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. It's critical. You have to have science, technology, engineering, and medicine if we're going to achieve those goals. And so with the support of the National Science Foundation HBCU UP program, AAAS is able to support HBCUs and their students working towards aspirational goals in invention, innovation, making, and entrepreneurship. And AAAS sustains its relationships with HBCUs in a variety of ways, in addition to the showcase. We do, obviously, convenings like this. We also host HBCU presidents in listening sessions. We want to partner in their advocacy. It is important to the AAAS that the advocacy that is done by HBCUs is amplified is complemented by the work that we do here at AAAS. We do a lot of that work ourselves. We also want to be making sure that we are good partners and collaborators in the priorities of the HBCUs. So we maintain those listening sessions with the HBCU presidents. We also, I have the privilege of serving as an inaugural council member of the United States Patent and Technology Office, the USPTO, Council for Inclusive Innovation. This is a council at the PTO, sorry, the Patent and Trademark Organization. This council is about ensuring that the people who are applying for patents include a diverse range of experience, of thought, of race, ethnicity, gender. We want to make sure that as people make inventions, as they have ideas, as they express their creativity, that they're able to protect that intellectual property through the patent process, and then by garnering new partnerships to support innovations at HBCUs. An example of that is this year, we're excited to welcome a new showcase sponsor, VentureWell. VentureWell is graciously providing increased funding for the pitch competition prize money. Go win that. They're also helping to support promotional signage and media products, and they're supporting transportation and lodging for this year's first place team to attend the 2023 HBCU Week Conference. That's so incredibly exciting. Just one example of the new partnerships that we're able to catalyze with the HBCUs. So I want to congratulate every one of you for being here. I want to welcome you once again to the 2022 AAAS HBCU Making It Innovation Showcase, and I want you to get to know everyone around you. This cohort of people that you're going to meet, that you're going to work with, that you're going to form ties over and relationships with while you're breaking bread together. That is incredibly important. You need networks. You need the people that are around you. You're going to call them hopefully 10 years from now and 20 years from now. And you're going to call me 10 years and 20 years from now because we're all a part of your network now. That's how we're going to make progress together. That's how we're going to do wonderful things for our community. And that's how I expect every one of you to be successful. And if I were there in the room right now, I'd be taking a picture of every one of you because I like being able to point out 10 years from now, I knew this person when. I knew this person when they were just starting out, and look what they've become. They've become leaders in industry. They've become leaders in academia. They've become Nobel Prize winners. They have become the next generation of people who will rise up and lead across this great nation. So thank you very much for being here, and I wish you a wonderful, wonderful showcase. Thanks, everybody.
Sudip isn't kidding about the photo. Was anybody here last year? I know some faculty were here last year. He stood right here and orchestrated, after giving his welcome remarks, a live photo. So he did specifically ask me to make sure that we did that. So we will get a group photo before we're done. Next, I am very, very excited about our next guest to introduce to you. Our program officer has brought a friend from the National Science Foundation with her that I'm really, really excited you get the chance to hear from. Dr. James L. Moore III is the new head of the National Science Foundation's Directorate for Education and Human Resources. Many of you might know it as EHR. If you don't know that acronym, please commit it to memory. It lives in my brain all the time. That enhances learning and teaching and broad efforts to achieve excellence in STEM education at all levels and in all settings. Dr. Moore's full bio is available in our conference application, in our conference website. I encourage you to check it out. It's incredibly impressive and really, really exciting. I did want to highlight a few things. Hopefully he doesn't mind me bragging a little bit about his accomplishments. Prior to his post at the National Science Foundation, Dr. Moore was the Vice President for Diversity and Inclusion and Chief Diversity Officer at The Ohio State University. Dr. Moore is internationally recognized for his work on African American males. His research has focused on a variety of educational topics, including STEM education, gifted education, multicultural and urban education, and higher education. I know this part to be personally true because I have read many, but not all of his publications, but he has published, and that's because he has published over 160 publications and received nearly $40 million in funding and has given over 200 scholarly presentations. I have to imagine that it's well over 200. I think we should update that stat. And lectures throughout the United States and other parts of the world. Dr. Moore has a bachelor's degree in English education from Delaware State University and a master's and doctoral degrees in counselor education from Virginia Tech. It's my extreme pleasure to welcome him to the stage with all of you.
Good evening. It is such a pleasure to be in your midst. There's something in the air that is prophetic and profound. I heard my colleague says that HBCUs are under-resourced. They're under-resourced when you look at the wrong thing. They're highly resourced because the greatest assets that we have at those institutions in this country are human assets. That gives us the ability to change the world, to solve some of the most complex challenges that we're confronted in the world. There's a place for you, young people. There's a place that many of you all have seen in your dreams, and now you hear. This is the moment that you've been waiting for. This is the moment that your family's been waiting for. You stand on the shoulders of those who came before you. I ask you to spend some time learning about the heroes and sheroes who came from the very institution that you came from. But I can tell you we're in a place in this moment in time that many of us are going places that not many of us have ever been before. And guess what? It's the race to the top. We can no longer afford to leave our assets into ruins. You are the person that can transform the schools, the communities, and the regions where you come from. I am very excited to be here, and thank you, Dr. York, for sharing those words. But the star of the show is you. We're dependent on you. It's excellence without excuses. Every day, I want you to make excellence a priority. You're chasing it. We don't know, there's no destination. All we know every day, I want you to wake up and prepare yourself for the moment. Some people in the world says the world is about who you know. And some people say it's what you know. I'm a little boy from the rural South, and I like to say I am a son of the South. And if I didn't know anything, I wouldn't be here with you today. And because I know something, it gave me a chance to meet people that I probably wouldn't have never ever met in my life. Your education will change the hands you shake, the people you meet, and the places you go. Believe me, as you can hear based on my words, I am very fired up, motivated, and committed to improve educational access and outcomes for people who look like the very people I see in this room. We can no longer throw away people no more or ignore people. It is a moral imperative, but not just a moral imperative. It's a social and economic imperative that we raise the tide. And we can't raise the tide in this country when 4% of the United States population is encompassing of the world. Well, China has 1 billion people. India has 1 billion people. We can take their top 10% and we can take our top 10%, and they still have more people than us. So we got to be more innovative. We got to be more creative. We got to have people who are normally not at the table, so they can share things that others may not see, but it's right in our face because it's a part of our world, it's a part of our experience. As you all know, that there are many places across these United States that are not functioning optimal. I grew up in a mill community in South Carolina, and work disappeared, and it changed the makeup of the community where I live. I work in Ohio. I'm at Ohio State, and I saw Ohio change. Work disappeared. Places like Youngstown, Toledo, and Cleveland. We saw thriving communities no longer thriving at the level that they once did. And now in this country, we realize that we need to invest in our own even more. And we just had a recent legislation that I want you to be aware of. It's called the CHIPS and Science Act. Now companies know that we were dependent on other nations for some of the things that we have grown accustomed. They are major parts of our lives that we are not even know, we forgot about. And now work is beginning to come back. But guess what? We're not quite prepared because we don't have all the talent that we need to ensure our global space in the world. To that end, I come to you this evening with strong motivation and a commitment to help you and others reach your dreams and aspirations, to make STEM more accessible, that it's a part of your life. But not only that, for you to honor those who came before you, that mom, that grandma, that grandfather, that fake cousin that we didn't know wasn't really our cousin. It's to make the village strong, viable, so we can achieve all that we need to achieve in our own communities. Something special about when you go home, when they look at you with pride and inspiration. I can imagine your pursuit in your education at times is quite lonely. And sometimes you might even want to quit and go back home. But you can't quit. We're counting on you to complete your degree and to be productive and to be innovative, to create jobs, to create opportunities for those who are born, as Dr. Benjamin E. Mays once would say, as well as the unborn. You're building a foundation for those who will come behind you. As you hear in my voice, I'm thrilled to be at the National Science Foundation and having the opportunity to provide national leadership in making STEM more accessible. See, I've seen the ruins. I've seen pain, I've seen strife. I've seen people who didn't get to realize their dreams. I'm James Moore III, and my grandfather's senior, and my son is the fourth, and we refer to my grandfather as affectionately as the Black Aristotle. And he says, if you see suffering, you experience it, or hear about it, your life will never be the same. There are communities around the country that need your genius to solve some of the grand challenges that we're confronting in this world. Our country's future depends highly on its ability to harness and cultivate the creativity and talent of a new generation. STEM is a catalyst for all new scientific and technological innovations. To remain a global leader in STEM research, innovation, and job creation, The country cannot leave anyone behind. It needs each one of you to make STEM excellence a priority. Broadening participation in STEM is a national imperative, one that you can probably see in your own life, in the space where you are. Annually, this summit extends opportunities for individuals such as yourself to exhibit their STEM genius while representing their respective HBCUs. The only thing missing is your band. And boy, if we had your band, I'm sure we would be rocking right now. Past conferences featured smart canes for visually impaired users, drones that battle airborne pathogens. This is the kind of genius that is consistently cultivated generation after generation at HBCUs. I'm confident that this year's presenters will marvel us with their innovations like past HBCU students. I want to give major kudos to AAAS for organizing this event and for showcasing the amazing STEM talent that exists at our beloved HBCUs. As a product of Delaware State University, a past to honor and a future to ensure, I'm keenly aware that HBCUs are more than institutions of higher learning. They are epicenters of Black culture and communities and produces on an annual basis major percentages of minority student graduates with degrees with STEM. HBCUs accomplish this feat with honor and noble. And now it's time for the season for them to get their due respect. As I began to think about all the many things that you will achieve, I sit here in awe because I know that someday I may have to work for you. But I hope you know how to put at least 1 1 and 6 zeros on that check for me. That I'm just saying. Your first check goes to your family, and the second check goes to your beloved institution, who is the incubator for this opportunity. While HBCUs are known for achieving STEM excellence, unfortunately, far too many students, particularly Black students and other demographic groups, leave the STEM pathway or will never have a true opportunity to engage. Most of it has nothing to do with their intellectual prowess and their capability. Economic situations somehow squeeze us in ways. We got to figure out ways how to make education more affordable so we won't lose the genius in so many universities, and particularly HBCUs. At NSF, we refer to these individuals as the missing millions. And to close the gap on the missing millions, we aim to make the workforce better and reflect the diversity of our nation. The agency has a long storied history investing in research, programs, and people to increase the participation of groups historically underrepresented. An example of our investments is our HBCU undergraduate program. It provides awards to strengthen STEM undergraduate education and research at HBCUs. Aligned with these goals, HBCU funds both sustainability focus and innovation focus awards. These awards include creating sustainability curriculum around interdisciplinary food studies and social media engagement at places like Lincoln University. STEM business focused sustainable financial technology studies at the University of the District of Columbia. It is so much excellence. And I got to spend my time last week engaging the first HBCU faculty member to receive the highly coveted Waterman Award from the University of District of Columbia. She was the first woman of color to receive this award. In her absence, she's not here, I think that deserves a hearty round of applause. With minimum resources, but you can't stop excellence. Excellence will permeate. I close on this because I've certainly taught longer than I should, but I am moved. And I want to close just being a good old South Carolina boy. To me, one of the greatest educators of the 20th century is born in the same county where my grandmother was born. And if you remember when President Obama was running for president, everybody was running around saying, yes, we can. That came from, and his name is Dr. Benjamin E. Mays. Does anyone know that name? Dr. Mays, he says, and I want you to stay, and if you just focus on me, because when you get down and out, I want you to remember these words. He says, whatever you do it so good that no man or woman, dead, alive, or yet to be born, can do it better. That's the level of excellence we summon you to. I close on this. We wish you very well and enjoy this experience because NSF is watching you and we stand ready to support you. Take care.
Thank you, Dr. Moore. Next up, I'm very excited to introduce you to a member of VentureWell. You heard a little bit in Dr. Parik's video welcome about the exciting new partnership that we have through a sponsorship with VentureWell for this showcase. I'm really excited to introduce you to Christina Tamer, who's the Director of Programs, Early Stage Innovators, and Venture Development at VentureWell. Christina oversees these early stage innovator and venture development programs. She has a decade of experience working with startups as an investor, instructor, coach, and program manager. Prior to VentureWell, she worked at a seed stage impact venture fund where she built a portfolio of 18 companies around the world. Christina holds an MBA and a bachelor's in science in management from the University of Massachusetts, Boston. Christina, we're excited to have you with us.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. What my valued colleagues have said so far has really resonated with me. Really appreciated the land acknowledgement. Really appreciated the comments that have been shared so far around take the time over the next few days to build this cohort, build this network, because it'll be great to say, you know, we knew you when, and I guarantee you all will be working together, becoming friends, and tapping into this network for many years to come. So as was said, my name's Christina. I work at VentureWell, and we're thrilled to be sponsoring and working with the AAAS community and the HBCU community this week, and hopefully long into the future as well. VentureWell is a nonprofit. We've been around for nearly 30 years, supporting science and technology inventors and innovators, driven to solve the world's biggest challenges. And it really resonated with me talking about the Sustainable Development Goals. When I first heard about them, they were the Millennium Development Goals 10 or more years ago, and now they've become even more robust and well thought out, and I hope that you feel inspired to solve one. You know, find one or two that really, really speaks to you, because if you feel committed to that cause, you'll be able to get through the hard times and solve that problem and dedicate your career to that. So VentureWell, as I said, we have a variety of programs to support innovators and institutions that support those innovators. So we have grant programs, we have training workshops, we have annual convening, and there's a plethora of resources on our website as well. What I love about innovation and entrepreneurship is that it's such a multi-dimensional way to create lasting impact. I first got exposed to social enterprise, so to speak, or invention and innovation for impact in college, and it was around this idea of helping displaced women in Uganda become entrepreneurs and to create jobs, and they had an innovative manufacturing method to create beautiful paper beads. And that was my first exposure to entrepreneurship as a way to create sustainability in economies. And then I got exposed to the world of deep science and tech and creating lots of jobs, creating really, really great solutions to some of the longest standing problems in healthcare and climate. So there can be such an outsized impact to what science can do, not just on those systemic problems, but also with how those companies are created, how those companies are run. You, as those founders or inventors or originators, can really determine how to make that product. What materials choices are you using? How does that product get recycled? Who are you hiring? What communities are you serving? There's so much power that you can have as a leader starting out as an innovator. So I encourage you to stay curious and use invention to solve big problems. So I'll leave you with my three pieces of advice. It's around communication, coachability, and commitment. I've worked with thousands of inventors and innovators in my career. And one thing that always stands out is when the innovators are really, really great communicators, concise in your messaging, really open to listening and engaging in a dialogue, not a monologue. So be strong communicators, be coachable. What I mean by that is stay humble. Know what you know what you don't know, and acknowledge that there might be things that you don't know you don't even know. I'm sure you've heard that before. But being coachable is really important. And then lastly, stay committed. This is hard work. You're solving big problems. You're starting out in your careers. So stay committed. Find that sustainable development goal that speaks to you and keep that in mind. Stay close to the problem. Understand what it's like in your own community and really understand it and live it if you can. And the more we have a diversity of thought around identifying the problems and the more we have a diversity of solutions to identify the problems, the better off we'll be. So that's my 3 C's to leave you with. And thank you very much for having me. Enjoy the week. Thank you.
Christina, thank you for those 3 C's. I appreciate that you modeled those also with your 3 C's. I'm happy to move us into our plenary speaker for the evening, and who has been gracious enough to give me a very easy job in introduction, because he's going to tell you a lot about himself in his talk. And so he's released me from that obligation, which I'm really excited about. But I do want to say, our plenary speaker, Joey Womack, who's right over here, I just have to kind of let you know that he is the founder of not 1, not 2, 3 startups. One that I'll tell you all 3. He's the founder of Goody Nation. He's also the founder of Amplify for Good. And he's also co-founder of Atlanta Black Tech. I'm sure you're going to hear about all of those. We're really, really pleased and honored that Joey has joined us tonight. I know that we've had a moment where you've had a lot of people coming up and giving really great advice, and that can feel a little, taxing. So I'm going to invite you, in preparation for Joey, if you don't mind just standing up for a quick second, stretch yourself, give yourself just a chance to kind of stretch, get that blood flowing. When you're in a long lecture and you might need to just get things moving again. So stretch, say hello. And when you're ready, sit back down. I'm going to have Joey come up here, and I promise you're going to want to stay awake for this. So not that any of you are sleeping, but you're going to be I hope you'll be excited about this. Joey, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. All right, microphone on? We're good, microphone? Awesome. Sorry, I probably should have just said, just call me dude. But give yourselves a round of applause. Give yourselves a round of applause for being and for making the commitment. Just want to recognize the talent in the room. The students, professors, staff, amazing organizations that are committed to making you all's lives a lot better. So I am Joey. I'm a kind of a natural convener of people, community builder, ecosystem developer. I'm probably going to walk around a little bit. We're going to be a little bit interactive today. My journey begins in Alabama. Anybody from Alabama or go to school? Okay. Anybody from the state of Alabama originally? What part? Utah. Tuscaloosa. Cool. I'm from Mobile, Alabama, Murphy High School. So here's the thing. I'm going to go back a little bit, right? I'm a little bit older. So summer 1996, I get into a pre-college engineering program at Tuskegee University. So I'm going to my senior year of high school. Anybody from Tuskegee, you think there's a team here? Good stuff. My aunt was a registrar there. My uncle was a professor and played a key role in the athletic department. And so get into a college pre-engineering program, or a pre-engineering program at college. Now, here's the thing. The program was for 30 of the top black students in the Southeast that wanted to major in engineering. My mother also went to Tuskegee, and her sister did as well. I knew, however, that I wanted to major in business, but here's the thing. Back then, they paid us $1,000. You get to live on campus. I get to be with my cousins and stuff and be on college campus, and I couldn't turn down the opportunity. So, with how these programs go, right? They match you up with a professor for a summer project. Anybody ever done something like that? Or, okay, maybe not. 1 or 2 people. Okay, cool. So I get matched up with an engineering professor. He sits me down. He says, you know what, Joey? What type of engineering do you want to major in when you get to college? Start thinking. And again, I want to major in business. I love numbers. If I was your age now, I would want to be a data scientist, but that wasn't really available. At least I wasn't aware of it back then. And so I started thinking, what is the easiest engineering I could tell them? Because hopefully this will lead to a very easy summer project. I'm thinking mechanical engineering. Like, I didn't really know a lot, but I'm thinking like chemical's too hard. Mechanical, I hear, is easier. Don't know if that's true or not. But here's the thing. Something told me to tell him the truth, right? If you've ever had that feeling where, maybe you're not doing the right thing, but, you should go in and go left instead of go right or something to that effect. It was one of those moments. And so I started doing the calculation. Well, if I tell him the truth that I don't want to major in engineering, then I might get kicked out of the program, right? That was my fear. But something said, Joey, tell him the truth. And so I said, you know what, dude, I'm not really going to major in engineering in college. I'm going to major in business. I'm just here to get paid and hang around, people on college campus and stuff like that. He says, you know what, cool, I respect that. I'm going to teach you how to build websites. So for the entire summer, this is summer 1996, and I know many of you all weren't alive back then. I didn't even have a computer at home. We still dial-up internet. You ever heard of dial-up internet? Like, that was a thing, right? So the whole summer, my friends were doing all these interesting other projects, and I'm building websites. I then go on to FAMU, get a full ride to FAMU, where I major in business, 5-year MBA program. I'm gonna jump ahead in the story a little bit, but I used the knowledge from summer 1996 at Tuskegee to launch my first tech startup, going into my last year of school. I graduated, kept on doing it full time, built it top 5 in the space, and for the past 13 or so years, I've been focused on building community, both for diverse founders and social entrepreneurs from all backgrounds. Here's the thing. My objective in life is to equalize social economic disparities all over the world, and it's my life's goal to positively impact 1 billion people by the year 2039, and I'm super serious about it, right? I'm super serious about it. I do a few things. Travis said earlier, I'm the co-founder of Atlanta Black Tech. I live in Atlanta. Convening body for the corporate tech, startup community, government tech, K-12, and post-secondary tech workforce education programs throughout the city. I sit on the board of Startup Atlanta and Venture Atlanta, which is an investor conference from DC down to Texas. I sit on the board of the Georgia Social Impact Collaborative, which is a kind of a group of impact investors across the state of Georgia, boards of South by Southwest, and a few other things. Emory University's VC fund, student-run VC funds. I also have a nonprofit called Goody Nation, where we're focused on closing the relationship gap for diverse entrepreneurs and social entrepreneurs from all backgrounds. We have 500 founders in our program, representing 33 states and 10 other countries outside the US, with a partner with Google for Startups on the Black Founders Fund and Latino Founders Fund. Essentially, people come to us, or companies come to us after they leave Techstars, Y Combinator, and the like, and we connect them to coaches, sources of capital, and to large companies for deals, right? Now, the other thing I do is amplify for good, and this is where my experience of working with HBCUs come into play. So I run hackathons innovation programs, design thinking labs for large organizations, government agencies, and schools. So I also ran the 10-day startup program for Spelman. I did a 3-day startup weekend for Morehouse's Public Health Science Institute. Just got finished last weekend running the Zillow HBCU Housing Hackathon for the second year. Worked with UNCF, Google on their initiative for voting and stuff like that, right? Just a little bit about what we do, but for me, it started at Tuskegee University. And that thought where, you know what, maybe I should tell him something that isn't right, because it may be easy for me. But again, that feeling that we all get of going left versus right, pay attention to that. It will never let you down. Here's the thing. We are living in unprecedented times. Pandemic, support for Black lives, economy, the changing in tech. No other time in human history has any of this stuff happened. Are there any, so here's also here, I'm gonna be a little bit interactive. Any other thoughts on what makes this time in human history unique? Especially maybe over the last 2 or 3 years? Anybody?
Well, I think people have been given time to reflect
Good.
on what their true life goals are and what their desires are.
Mm.
And they've also been given time because being alone, like Eric said, and a lot of people were isolated. They weren't as accustomed to being around people that were before.
Right.
And so they were reflecting and figuring out like what's really important to them. And so you see a lot of people transitioning into out of their current careers into careers that they feel like are either more meaningful or they're doing some type of
Nice. Hey, I'm sorry, what's your name?
Dr. Richard Wilson.
There it is. Give us Dr. Richard. Great answer. Great answer. Ma'am, did you have any thoughts?
I think what's different now is that every single leader on the globe has had to pivot simultaneously and think of different ways to do what they've done.
I love it. What's your name?
Sheila Malone, I love Jackson State University.
There it is. Give it up for Sheila in Jackson State. Awesome. Anybody over here? Anybody thoughts on what makes these times kind of unique in human history?
People are reconnecting with agriculture and literacy.
Awesome. Awesome. Your name?
Really happy.
Please give it up for Kimberly. Awesome. Awesome. What about over here? Any thoughts? This side of the room is winning. Any thoughts on what makes this time unique in human history? Oh man. I love it. I love it. Get up for my man. That's amazing. That's amazing. Here is the thing. Students in particular, but everyone in this room, you all are built for this. You all are built for this. No other time in human history have people going through what you've gone through, especially in the last 2.5 years. You are built for this. You're not new to this. You are true to this, as my friend Natalie Cofield from Howard University would say. And HBCUs are built for this too. HBCUs are built for this. I believe this is the greatest collection of Black talent that have gone through unprecedented times in human history. HBCUs can do this. They can usher in the next generation of Black innovation. And you all are at the epicenter. You are the future. But here's the thing. Innovators fail. Innovators fail. Happens all the time. And this is, again, interactive. Any thoughts here? And there are no wrong answers. Thoughts on, particularly from the students, the top reason why innovators fail. My man. Good, good. They give up. Anybody else have any thoughts? The top reason why innovators fail. My man. I'm sorry, come down later. Mm. Good. I love it. I love it. I love it. Mm. Lack of resources, impression from family and friends. I see it all the time. I see. Anybody else have any thoughts on the top reason? Anybody else want to? Anybody over here? Top reason why innovators fail. Lack of support. Good. Good, good, good. I'm going to give you all a little bit hint before I give the answer. It's been mentioned twice already by the previous two speakers. Team. Team. Number one reason why innovators fail when they come together is lack of teamwork. Lack of teamwork. And so when developing a good team, and again, I've worked with thousands of entrepreneurs at this point, I think I have a pretty good idea about what makes a good team and why innovators are successful. The good thing about this is that it can be broken down into the thing we call the process. Now, again, I'm from Alabama. I like football. I like University of Alabama football. I like Nick Saban. He has a thing called the process. And here's what we know about process and developing culture and stuff like that. Actions turn into habits. Habits turn to behavior, and group behavior turns into a culture of teamwork. So let's talk about a little bit about what that means. So this process is a daily consistency of effort and focus. This is how teams are successful. Daily consistency of effort and focus. And together, everyone here is on the same team. So before we go forth, who's going to win this showcase? What team? Okay, TU and stuff like that. Some of y'all seem a little bit timid, you know what I'm saying? But just generally speaking, when we're talking about ushering in the next era of black innovation, we are all in the same team. Everyone in this room is on the same team, meaning together, everyone accomplishes more. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. But here's the thing. Every day, you got to make a choice. A choice will be either you're going to make it or it will be made for you every single day. Will you be average? Will you be good? Or will you be great? So average students just kind of slide on by. They kind of slide on by. The good ones, they accept the coaching from professors, from advisors and things like that. But the great ones are going to proactively ask, how can I get better? How can I get better? Both individually and as it relates to the overall goal of ushering in this new era of black innovation. So the question I have for you is, what choice did you make today? Or did you let a choice be made for you? The clock still keeps on going. The sun keeps on coming up, right? What choice you gonna make tomorrow? What choice you gonna make on Saturday and Sunday and Monday when you go back to your schools? Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say that you can be great every single day, because that can be mentally taxing. That can be mentally taxing. I wanna recognize that. But I also know that, or believe, more often than not, you should make that choice to be great. You all the ones, again, who are gonna usher in this next era of black innovation. But that also means, earlier, the previous speaker said, you gotta accept coaching. You gotta accept it. And you gotta trust the process that's been laid out for you by the people who really have your best interest at heart is the way to go. Now, it may seem daunting, right? It may seem daunting. I talk about my goal of positively affecting 1 billion people by the year 2039, but here's the thing. I don't think about that number. I don't think about the year 2039. I just focus on the next step I gotta take, what's right in front of me. Again, I trust the process. I take one step, I check that off the list, I take another, I take another, and eventually I trust that I will reach that goal. That's how you go from walking, then eventually you'll jog, you'll sprint, and that's how we create forward momentum, again, to usher in the new era of Black innovation. And finally, I'll say this, simply outwork yesterday. If everyone here can do this, individually and as a group, this is how we make change. Again, you all are built for this. No other people, I didn't go through it as an 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old. I didn't do it. I was in college 20 years ago. You all are much further along than me in a number of different areas. So here's the thing. We have this thing we call the Innovators Pledge at Goody Nation, and I'm going to ask everyone here, if you can, to stand up, and we're going to say this pledge together, right? So I'm going to ask again, if you can, if you all will stand up, and we're going to say this pledge together, all right? So it's going to be like 6 slides. I'm going to count down. I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, and I go to the next slide. We're going to say it together. If we mess up, we're going to start all over again. So just please pay attention. Then I'm going to say, like, next slide and so on and so forth. There are 2 screens here. Look at whatever one you want to. Trust the process. Trust the process. Okay, 3, 2, 1. No. That was pretty weak. So we're going to start all over again. I need some energy. Say it with your chest. Say it like you believe. Do you all believe you can enter or usher the new era of Black innovation in? You all believe that? If you believe it, I believe everyone in this room has a role to play. And if you believe it, say it with that same energy, right? So 3, 2, 1. I believe in impossible. That's good. Next up. My very first thought is how can this happen? Awesome. I will break the impossible into manageable pieces. You're doing amazing. Awesome. It's a tough one. But the last one. This will allow me to be innovative and have fun. This is what we believe in. This is how innovators do their thing. This is what people know us as. You all will be you all are the leaders right now in this space, and you will continue to make the world a better place. Give yourselves a round of applause, and you can sit back down. And if we talk about being a team, I'll leave you with this. Here's a story about what being a good team member looks like. Now, when I was at FAMU, I pledged, I'm Beta Nu, I'm an Alpha. Anybody here in the fraternity sorority? Okay, there it is. Anybody heard about maybe the culture around fraternity sorority? At least you heard about it and stuff like that? Okay, maybe not. That was weird. Okay, this gets kind of weird. Okay. Here's the thing. Stay with me here. Stay with me. I crossed Spring 2000. And the next year, I was given the responsibility of organizing our Alpha Week, the biggest in the spring of 2001, the biggest week of the year, where we bring in the most money, so on and so forth. Also a big part of fraternity culture in particular, especially at FAMU, I think for many organizations, but especially for Alphas, is that this concept of big bag old school coming back, and their sole objective, because they have graduated and they have jobs and stuff, is to make life hell for the people on campus. Like, this is what it is, right? I mean, their job is to nitpick and when it would just be jerks, and that's the nice way I want to say it. So you're like very scared. You hear these rumors of old school coming back, and fear comes into your mind and stuff like that. And so we're crossing the line in spring 2000, April 2021, and old school has come back. Our big event of the year is the next day. We're back at the frat house and small little house and stuff like that. We're in the living room. I have to make a presentation like this, but to a bunch of dudes that are very aggressive, who want to do nothing else, which is weird because we're in the same organization. They simply want to tear me apart. It's a very stressful situation. I'm talking to them about what's coming up the next day, you know, what is next, what's coming up next, and so on and so forth. And so when I'm finished, this guy with this freckles, who named Theo Cavanagh, who I only knew from a piece of paper. He crossed 4 years early, I'd never met him before, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He raises his hand, he says, "How can I help?" Which blew me away, because I'm expecting them to just be very jerkish, and I'm trying to be very particular about the words I use here. I don't really want to use that word. He simply says, "How can I help?" And it relieved all the pressure in the world off me. I actually didn't even have an answer for him because, again, I was expecting them to be very jerkish, right? But that day always stuck with me. Theo and I became, you know, pretty good friends and stuff like that. I'll flash forward to 2018, June 2018. I'm actually in Chicago. I propose to my now wife. I post a photo on Facebook. I get a call from another frat brother who just so happens to be right around the corner. He says, "Congratulations, Joey. Did you hear about Theo?" I'm like, "No, what are you talking about? Just proposed." Theo passed away, had a heart attack that morning. You know, it's still difficult for me to talk about. He was probably my age right now, quite honestly. So 42, 43, something like that. Amazing, the type of guy, you're like, "Hey, I'm going to New York." He worked at ESPN and New York Post and stuff like that. "Hey, I'm gonna take you to the Philly Eagles bar and stuff like that. We'll drop everything to just go and meet you like a real friend's friend." I've taken the values of what Theo has done and incorporated them into what I do at Goody Nation, where we're asking people to help entrepreneurs, particularly black entrepreneurs. The reason I'm telling you this story is I hope that throughout this weekend, as you all are meeting each other and developing relationships that matter and will affect your future, you start the conversation with, "How can I help? How can I help?" In many cases like this, people want to throw out credentials and what school do you go to and so on and so forth, where are you from? No one really cares about that. Start the conversation with, "Hey man, how can I help? Hey sister, how can I help?" And then you also got to have an answer for them. If you do that, this is how we develop closer relationships with each other. This is how we work together better as a team. This is how we usher in the new era of black innovation. So, in closing, the question I have for you is, what are you going to do to usher in this new era? Right? What are you going to do? I'm going to ask you to outwork yesterday. I'm going to ask you to work better together as a team. I'm going to ask you to stay magnetic. Create relationships that extend, just like the other speaker said, beyond this weekend, beyond this year, beyond this decade. This is how we do tech right. I'm Joey Womack, 2003 MBA graduate, Florida A&M University, and thank you.
We have a few minutes for a couple questions for Joey here. So there is a mic right over here. Please come to the mic just so that everybody in the room can hear to make sure it's a little bit more accessible. Do you have a question? Would you like to come to the mic? Good evening. Hold on 1 second.
Can everyone hear me now? All right, if you didn't catch, I'm from North Carolina A&T. And my question for you is, and I think you partially answered this beforehand, but we as innovators, I'm sure you've talked with many people, mentored many people, but I'm sure you have seen a trend of the questions that they ask. But outside of how can we help, what are the questions that we should be asking?
That's a good question. So I'm a guy ask a clarifying question, just relative to this weekend, right, or just in general. That's a good one. I think the first thing that popped into my mind is unique insights, right? So unique insights. I mean, people always, so if you've heard like, you know, what problem are you working on and so on and so forth, I think that oftentimes there's a level deeper, 2 or 3 levels deeper, especially if you start using stuff like root cause analysis to get down to it. Like that right there is like what are you uniquely seeing in the world? Like what problems? And then we can talk about a solution after that. Like, so that should be the question. Like, what are you seeing in the world? Like, what unique insights do you have in whatever area you're looking at? And also, if I can use this question as a way to make another point, if you don't mind. So, I'm sure through your training for your showcase and just in general, they've asked you to identify a problem. Has anybody heard that? Maybe raise your hand. Okay, cool. Okay. And there's a person on my team at Goody Nation. Her name is Kathleen Curry. She's an amazing, amazing person. She says that entrepreneurs think that they're solving problems, but what you're really doing is building an expression about who you are as a human, who you are as a human being. A totally different way to think about it. And it's another entrepreneur in our program that says it. You teach best what you need the most. So the problem that you are identifying is really internal to you. And so when it comes back to the question around the problem, like how deep do you know yourself? How deep do you know yourself? And you can express that through your ideas.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good everyone. Again, my name is Olashibami Olakpo, rising junior, studying computer science at the ever illustrious Alabama A&M University, funded by the great Mr. William Hooper Council. Fun fact for y'all. And firstly, Drew, thank you so much for being here. I know you have a lot of things going on, and you took the time to speak to us today. We really do appreciate it. So my question is, a lot of people always talk about, helping, black founders, entrepreneurs, and everything. As a founder myself, I truly appreciate it. But people always forget that, mentorship is cool and all, but how are you going to fund them? So my question to you is kind of like, Goody Nation or whatever other ventures you're in, how are you actually providing funding to your founding community as opposed to just constant mentorship? And we get that all the time, especially if you're like into VC and whatnot. Like everyone is always saying they're going to help, but it's just mentorship, but not actually giving money, which is quite important.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great question around funding. I mean, we get it a lot. I'll try to. I'm sure there's more, so I'll try to be somewhat concise with it. A few things. Yeah, we partner with Google for Startups on Black Founders Fund, and also now Lenovo coming up on a similar fund. At the end of the day, we also make connections to investors, and I'm going to use this question to also make another point. We talk about relationships and so on and so forth, and how relationships matter in business. They definitely do. You may have heard about the concepts around warm introductions, but at the end of the day, it boils down to trust. It boils down to trust. And there's a few different ways I'm not going to go into because we don't have the time for you to develop trust with people, both investors and with people who can connect you to investors. So it's really around trust. And so once it's proven that we can that people can trust you, the doors tend to open up. Now, trust is usually extended just a little bit on grace, but after that, you got to prove as a founder, right? There's also a much larger conversation, I would love to have it, around the type of capital for entrepreneurs of all types, particularly for diverse founders. Everyone always talks about venture capital, but the vast majority of businesses in this country, in this world, are not positioned for venture capital. So the question should be, how do we fund those companies? And I see that many black founders in particular are developing awesome ideas, awesome companies, but in many cases they are not the right fit for venture capital, and so they end up being super frustrated. So the larger question is, what type of capital is right for them, and how do we develop that market?
Thank you so much. Definitely very reaching out.
Thanks. Cool. You're welcome.
All right, so as we transition into the next phase of the evening, you have an opportunity to put into practice what many of the speakers have been talking about tonight. So we're moving into our next phase, which is a networking reception. I'm going to give you a couple just kind of housekeeping items for that, but I really want you to be thinking about, as several of your illustrious speakers have been talking about, the importance of you making connections. Joey was just talking about building trust, asking those questions behind the questions, asking how you can help, building that team. So that's what this next phase is for. Over here to your right, my left, there is a kind of drink station, but the food is located because we wanted to maximize your space to be able to speak with one another in this space. The food is located right when you go out this door. If you take a right before the escalator, kind of wrapped around the escalator, there's just a good hallway for us to kind of put food for you all as well. So please feel free to grab food, but come back in here where you'll be able to kind of connect with one another. Please feel free to spread out across all of the tables, chat about kind of what you're doing, where you're from. This is your opportunity to do some of that networking and trust building with lots of folks here. Please don't feel, it may feel awkward if you're talking about to somebody you don't know. I encourage you to embrace that awkwardness, go for it. We're living a lived experience here. So the other quick things I have for you about housekeeping for tomorrow. As Neela mentioned, breakfast will be available starting at 7:45 for the first session. So even though the session starts, because you have an incredibly packed day tomorrow, you can come in and start getting especially if you're an early riser and you want to come in and get settled, feel free to come on down. The doors will be open by 7:45, maybe even a little bit before that. But we will start at 8 a.m. right away. Please do not come waltzing in at 8:05. 8:10, 8:00, 8 o'clock. Iris will be doing stuff, important things. You've got a question, yes. Great question. So for the student working time, Neela, there was a question about what supplies or equipment people might need. For instance, their laptops or computers or anything like that. For the student working time, that would be encouraged. Yeah, for the pitch practices. And you'll have time to grab what you need as well. And you'll be working on your pitches throughout tomorrow, finalizing with coaching from the experts that will be with us. That's why we need you here right away at 8 so that we can get moving on that. Iris? Tweeter, for those of you who are tweeterers, at Travis York. Tweet me. All right, let's begin this next experiment. As in, let's network.